Hey guys, so a few weeks ago I launched my new gaming channel, and over the years I have published a lot of gaming videos on this channel, but I've decided to launch a dedicated gaming channel, and since it's a new channel I've got like next to no subscribers at this point. I really am building it from scratch, but it is something that I'm looking forward to working on and building up. Now, I did a few live streams today, which isn't unusual. This is something that I'm going to be doing a lot with that channel. The problem is that I ran into a lot of problems, and that's what I would like to do in this video. I'd like to explain the kind of weird, unique situation that I found myself in today. It was very, very frustrating. I think I have resolved it, but we shall see. So this situation really involves me streaming from a gaming laptop. It's kind of like a dual PC gaming setup. I've mostly streamed games from consoles in the past. So I've connected up my PS4 to the Elgato HD60 or HD60S, or I've connected my Nintendo Switch or a PS3 or whatever. I've got lots of different consoles that I can connect up to the Elgato. And for the most part, it's a very simple experience because the game will default to 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second, and then that's what, gets recorded. And then I set the values accordingly in OBS. But this is my first time doing a dual PC streaming setup. Now, when you think of a dual PC setup, you think of two computers, but in my case, I'm going to show you behind the magic here, I'm actually using my gaming laptop. So you can see it here. This is my gaming laptop. I've got it here on a stand just because, reduced temperatures and all that, cools it down a little bit. So this, despite being a laptop, it's just a PC, and this is what I've got. I've got another PC over here under my desk. I've got a 34-inch monitor for that. I've got this laptop. This has got a 4K 15-inch screen, and then I've got another monitor over there. And this is really where the problems arose today, because as you saw there, in the background there, you can see Call of Duty. Now, I'm not sure if you guys are aware. If you're not a gamer, you might not be aware of this, right? But this is called a first-person shooter, an FPS game. It's one of the most popular first-person shooter games in the world, and this is a fun game. When I first started playing this a few weeks ago, it wasn't that good because I hadn't played in a while, but I'm starting to do better. In most games over the last few days, I've been like the first or second or third player. So I've been getting better at it, and I've been enjoying playing it. Now, if you have played a game like this before, you should know, or you will know, that a lot of things come into play here, and it's very different to like a football game or a strategy game or something else. Things come into play such as latency, input lag, frame rates. All of these things matter because what it means is that when you're shooting at someone, it's like say in many situations it's a 50-50. Someone who's got a quicker computer or a quicker internet connection or a faster refresh rate in a monitor, it doesn't mean that they'll always win, but all these things contribute to being easier to actually to kill someone. If you have a slow ping rate, a slow latency, then what can happen is that in your screen, in your monitor, on your computer, you can bring up and go, oh look, there's someone there, and then you're dead. And then what will happen is you will see the replay, and in their screen, in the other person's player screen, in their replay, it will show that you were there for a few seconds, despite the fact that on your screen you didn't have a few seconds. And it really just comes down to the fact that, it depends where the server is located. Perhaps the server is based in the USA, that person's in the USA. They're obviously getting to that server quicker than you are. So there's a little bit of a discrepancy there, which means that they've got a huge advantage with their ping rate, their latency being less. Now, if I jump back and show you behind the magic again, I'll explain where the problems arose today. So today I was playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare with the green screen behind me and all that, and it started messing up. It started messing up really bad. So I'd be walking around. This is me making up a gun shape, blah. So I was walking around with the gun, and then you're facing there, and then all of a sudden your guy would be like this, like a split second. It would just go like that, and then you'd be facing a wall, and then you'd be over there, and then you'd be over there, and then you'd be dead, which is what happened most of the time. Now, feel free to look on my channel, look back at that stream. I was incredibly frustrated. It was really driving me crazy. And anyone who's played an FPS game knows what I'm talking about. If you've got any problems with the server, with ping, with your internet connection, it drives you nuts. And basically what it means is Whereas a game like Zelda, you can still enjoy the game and all that. With a game like this, it becomes unplayable. And if you do continue to play the game when you're having those problems, you will die, and you'll die a lot, and it will be very, very frustrating. And this was happening to me today. So, what did I do? Well, like any kind of PC issue, I went down, trial and error, trying to figure out what was going on. The internet connection, I tested that. It seemed okay, the ping was high, but I changed from a wireless connection to an Ethernet connection, so I've got the Ethernet plugged in. That dropped it a little bit, the ping rate. It was really high, my ping rate, but that dropped it down a little bit. Didn't fix the problem. I checked the CPU on my laptop, and that wasn't the problem. The CPU was fine. It was hard, it was like 60-70%. I checked the GPU. That was hardly being tested as well. And then I started investigating the refresh rate, because I ruled out the CPU, the GPU, and all that, and I started looking at the refresh rate. So this is where it gets interesting. Here I've got a laptop with a 4K screen, right? Now, with a gaming laptop, this laptop can be purchased with a 1080p screen, which has got a 144 Hz monitor, which means it's got a 144 Hz refresh rate, which means that you can play games at 144 frames per second. Okay? That is this, but I've got a 4K one, and the frame rate, the refresh rate is 60 Hz. So this can do 4K at 60 frames per second. I've been playing Modern Warfare on this at 4K at 60 frames per second. But I cannot stream at 4K at 60 frames per second. I do not have the bandwidth for that, and it's kind of wasted. Most people stream at 720p or 1080p. Now, the Elgato will capture 4K, and it will capture it. Well, this is the thing. I checked this on the website today. At 4K at 60, it apparently takes it and then passes through the 4K. It'll take a 4K at 60 frames per signal here, and then pass through a 1080p 60 frames per second signal. Okay? If it gets 4K 30, it will just accept 4K 30. But the problem that I've got here is that this does 4K. It's got a 4K display. Then I've got the Elgato, which is 1080p 60. And then I've got my new gaming monitor, which is underneath the camera here. And that is 1440p, and it's 144 Hz. Now, that's not a problem. It shouldn't be a problem, because that monitor can display 1080p. It can also display any refresh rate up to 144 Hz. It's not like you're locked into that resolution and refresh rate. But this is where the problems arose, because I was running the game at 1080p and I was running at 60 frames per second, but there was a lot of kind of funny things going on there. So what I'm going to try to do just now is show you exactly what was going on. So if I jump back over to here, sorry, that's the wrong one. If I go back over to here, and I can try and show you what the hell is going on here and kind of show you some of the problems that I've got here. Right. Is that? Right, that's not showing there. So, I'll bring this over, and you can see that the resolution is a little bit funny here. Close window. Can I show you this? Okay, it's loading back up. Windows kind of crashed there. Right, so we've got another thing here, right? So, I've just transferred these windows over from a 4K screen. I'll mute that just now. It's playing in the background. I'll mute that just now. Right, so you can see I've got two displays, right? And this is 4K. So the monitor is at 4K, right? So the monitor's at 4K. Now, I can change that. So right now, if I go to advanced display settings, display 1, 4K, 60 Hz. This is what I was talking about. This is a 4K laptop, and it's 60 Hz, 60 frames per second. Now, if I change this, right, and I change it to 1080p, I just want to show you this. Keep changes, right? If I go down to advanced display settings, you can see that the active signal resolution and the desktop resolution is still 4K at 60 Hz, which basically means that from the HDMI port, I'm still sending out 4K effectively. It's still a 4K. So it's scaled down to 1080p, but it's still a 4K screen. Effectively, that's what's going on there. So what it means is that it scales down. Where is that mouse? Come over here. That really should be Mortal Kombat. Come over here. Right, so that's display 1, right? That's the laptop screen. And for whatever reason, they use the integrated graphics, UHD graphics 630 for that 4K 60 Hz, right? So then we've got HD 60S Plus. And this is where the plot thickens and it gets a little bit interesting, a little bit quirky how it works. Because we've got that 4K 60 Hz. Now, I don't want that 4K 60 Hz. I want that at 1080p at 60 frames per second, 60 Hz. Now, what will happen is that when the game, I only figured this out later, but when the game is actually being played, that changes. So if I start playing the game at 1080p, that will change to 1080p. If I start changing it, if I play at 4K, that will change. And that will change to whatever I set in the game. But I'll show you that in a second in the game, but there's a few other kind of quirky things here as well. So if I go down here, so this is 1080p at 60 Hz. Now, the interesting thing is, as I showed you there before, that is 4K. Now, I can change that to 1080p. All I have to do is go down to this one. So this is 1080p, 60 Hz. That's what I want. That's what I want in the Elgato. But if I go down to here, look at that, 120 Hz. Now, the interesting thing is, if it comes up, it might not come up again. Right, so what it's done there, I need to activate it, deactivate it, and bring it back up. Come on. Right, so it's not showing that now. It's not extending the display now, and this is kind of the problem that I ran into today as well. Okay, right, it's came back up. It's came back up there. And I can't actually see that now because the monitor has changed that. Right. So I'll change the monitor. Right, so okay, I can see now. So this is at 4K, and I've changed that to 120 Hz. The reason all that happened there is just when you change anything, it kind of messes things up. But if we're going to advanced display settings, right, that's 4K at 60 Hz, right? So, oops, come back down. Right, so it's still set at that one, right? Which is not what I want. I want that, and I need to apply. So, yes, right, so you can't see that, but I'm going to show you this in a second. I need to deactivate and activate the Elgato again for you guys to see that. It should refresh and you should be able to see it. Can you see that? No, so it's not going to show you that, right? So that's unfortunate. But effectively what's happening here on my screen is that it is showing as 1080p in that wireless adapter now. It's now showing as 1080p. Now, you guys can't see that. For whatever reason, it's not liking the 120 Hz, so the Elgato isn't liking that. It was showing earlier on, but as usual, as soon as you change anything, the Elgato gets a little bit funny. It doesn't accept it. So, there we go. So that's reverting back, right? That's going to revert back. But what happened there was, and you guys couldn't see that, I do apologise for that, but effectively what happened there was, I was at 1080p 60 Hz, right? I changed it to the other setting, and for whatever reason, it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, because that one keeps it at 4K, right? You change it to that one, it changes the display settings here, or the windows over here. It changes this to 1080p, but it's got it at 120 Hz. So this is where I got truly confused today, because I'm like, right, I've got a 4K monitor, I had it scaled down to 1080p, I've got a 1440p monitor scaled down to 1080p, but why is it going to 120 Hz when the Elgato can only handle 60? It was mind-boggling. It was really confusing, and the problem is that I checked for this situation online, and of course this is a very unique setup that I've got here, so no one could help me out. I really couldn't see any answer to this anywhere online. So if I just need to deactivate and activate again, because the Elgato does not like change. It fears change. Is it going to come up? Right, so I'm actually going to have to close the application and restart it again. That's what I need to do. But what I'm trying to do here, is show you the settings. Show you the settings in the game, because the game settings are something that are important as well. Of course they are. You know, what you set in the game is actually what changes what's happening on the monitor. And that's the interesting thing about the advanced display settings here. It says 4K at 60, but as soon as I change it to 1080p 60 in the game, it changes that to 1080p 60. Whatever resolution I set in the game, it changes the Elgato to that resolution in that display. Now, again, I'm talking about all of this, but when I was doing all this, right, what I was doing in between I was changing a setting, changing saving the setting, change a setting, save a setting, going back into a game, playing a game, and then problem was still there, still getting messed up. And that's when I started to realize that this was a refresh rate issue, because it was shown as 120 hertz, which means that was probably converting 120 to 60, or it was showing 4K 60, so it was maybe converting 4K down to 1080p. There's definitely something at play there as far as the resolutions and the frame rate. So this is where you set up the graphics here. Now, this laptop can actually do 4K at 60, as I was saying. It can do 1080p at 144 on this monitor, really, just via the laptop. But you can do other things as well. Like, I tried full screen borderless, and what it does is it displays it at 1080p, but it renders it over 4K, not just 4K, over 4K. It's a really, really bizarre situation. So, I changed a lot of these settings, and I can go in and change this. It's got 120 hertz there. I don't want that. There it's got 60. That's actually 59 hertz. It's weird. It's got 50. That's actually 59. It says 60, but it goes up to 60. The real 60. So it's 59 then 60. And then you've got display resolution. And you can really set this at anything. The problem arose today is that if I changed it to Windows, it came up with a really bizarre situation. I had to get it to 1080p, but even when it had it set like this, all of this kind of madness was still going on. I was still having problems. I was still having screen tearing. I was still having input lag. And it was as if I had a terrible internet connection, despite the fact that whenever I went into a game, the game, I had one of the best ping rates. I was, had the best internet connection, or one of. This setting does seem like it's relevant as well. I did disable a couple of settings, but again, I went back to the CPU, I went back to the GPU. I think this had something to do with it as well. So if you look at this one, see earlier on, this was set at the maximum. This was set at 250 or something. And I think this was an issue as well, because it's got the frame rate at the menu 60. So right now it's at 60. It's got the gameplay custom frame rate limit. And if I go up there, set a custom limit to the number of frames per second in gameplay only. Note if VSync is on. So VSync is this one where it does not. So this is, there's a lot of settings here. VSync does not limit your frame rate with your monitor's refresh rate. Enabled limits your frame rate to match your monitor's refresh rate. Now, I'm not 100% sure at that point how that would apply to me, because really the monitor in this case is actually the Elgato, because this monitor is being connected to the Elgato. So it's not like I'm passing 144 hertz to here. It has to go through the Elgato. The way I've got it set up to record, it has to go through the Elgato. So I think that if I limit the frame rate to your monitor's refresh rate, in theory, it should just limit it to 60, because that's where the Elgato is. But it doesn't do that. And I think that one of the settings that I had to change was this gameplay custom frame rate limit. So it was a really unique situation that I was in. I think that by putting that down to 60, I can stop that happening. I believe what was happening in the game, set it down to that. I believe what was happening in the game is that this was playing 4K 60 for the display. Then you've got the Elgato, which can accept 4K 60 as pass-through, 4K 30 as a signal, or 1080p 60 or 30 as a signal. I know it does get very confusing. And then you had the monitor as well. But in the game has all these other settings there and all these different graphical settings. The problem is that all these settings that are there, they're all really there for a direct connection to the monitor. These games aren't set up to connect to a recording device, not really. So all these additional options here that are optimized for my laptop, they're optimized for gameplay in the laptop. There's something in the GeForce experience in NVIDIA, and it optimizes all the settings. I think what it was doing there was it was outputting 1080p, it was outputting at 60 for the screen refresh rate, but I believe that the gameplay, it was going up and down up to 250, I believe. I think that's what's happening. Now, I am not 100% sure that I've got it fixed right now. I've played a game or two there. It seems like it's working now. It does seem like it's working now. But the whole point of this video is that when you are using OBS, And if I show you, I've got OBS set up here. So I've got OBS, and then I've got this laptop, the gaming laptop, which is sending a signal to the Elgato for my PC, and then there's a signal coming from the Elgato to my gaming monitor here, so that I can actually play the game and listen to the game and all that through the OBS. When you've got all these things into play, there's different refresh rates, there's different resolutions, there's different frame rates even within the game, even though it should be limited to 60. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. That's the thing. That's the thing. So this has been my first experience with dual PC gaming, if you can call it that, and it was a bad one. It was a really bad experience. It was a really bad experience. Now, again, I'm not claiming to be an expert on this at this point, and the streams today, as frustrating as the streams were today for me to play a game and then just, you're standing there and then you turn around and you're killed because there's like a 5-second delay or 2-second delay or whatever. As frustrating as it was, I had to go through that whole painful experience, frustrating experience, in order to figure all of this out, because I am so used to having a very easy and reliable and constant frame rate connection from a PlayStation 4 or a Nintendo Switch, and that, consoles are a little bit simpler as far as how they work, especially when it comes down to resolution and frame rates. You do get a couple of options in modern games now as far as what frame rate do you want, what resolution do you get, but not all games support that, and the options are quite limited. And I've dived into this world of PC gaming again, where you've got so many different customization options, and that's great. If I'm playing on my laptop, that's great. If I'm playing on my PC, that's great. But if I'm recording and you want it fixed, 1080p 60 frames per second, this is where different problems arise. Now, I hope at this point that I've got it set up at this point and I've got it correct. But it might be that I go into a different PC game and it's, back to the same story. I'll need to check all the settings, make sure that everything is okay. So my advice to anyone who's watching this, who wants to have a dual PC set up, or, just wants to connect their gaming laptop to their PC to record or stream, just make sure that you check all the resolutions are okay. Make sure that the resolution and the screen refresh rate, the frame rate, make sure those are in sync. Make sure you're not going above what your capture card can do, because if I was doing this at 140 hertz, maybe if I did a direct connection, maybe that'd be great for, if I played here at 144 hertz and then recorded it, because I could have just played this rather than play on a monitor. If I sit here and play a game here, then yes, it'd be amazing at 144 hertz, but from a recording point of view, that recording device has to, scale that down from 144 hertz to 60. So yeah, you want the way that you're playing to be synced almost exactly. I know that you can get pass-through devices, but really, if you're recording, if you're streaming, yes, you can do 144, but that 144 refresh rate has to be scaled down for everyone else. So check your refresh rates, check your resolution, check your in-game graphical settings, and check OBS as well. There's a lot of things at play. Now, I wouldn't recommend a dual PC streaming setup until you've messed around with a console setup. That's, once you've got the console setup, I think that you're fine to start recording games from your laptop and all that. But I think with other games, this might have been a minor problem. With a first-person shooter, you notice every little detail, every little problem. Really does create it creates a mess. It creates an absolute mess. If I jump back though, what have I done here? I'm going to discard settings there because I don't think did I change that custom? Did I change that? I think, see, this is the thing you need to check. Did I change that custom frame rate? 60, right? Okay, so again, this is what you need to do. Make sure the settings are okay, and then when you've done it, start playing your game. So thanks for watching, guys. I just thought I would share this with you. As I said, I am trying to build the gaming channel, but these are the kind of problems that I will run into. I will run into these kind of problems whenever I try to change my recording setup. But the thing is, what I've always done on my channel, and what I will hopefully continue to do, is try to learn more. I'm not the best YouTuber out there. I'm not the best game streamer out there. I still consider myself a novice in many areas, despite the fact I'm quite knowledgeable in certain things as far as, you know, I've learned what I've had to learn. But there's still a lot of things that I'd like to learn to improve what I'm doing. And you do have to get out of your comfort zone sometimes to do that. So, yeah, just, let me see, am I going to jump back here? Yes. So, yeah, that would be my advice to all of you guys. So, I've got this set up now, so I'm going to go and play a few games. But thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And I know this video isn't for everyone, but I hope you've enjoyed this behind the scenes of a dual PC, messed up setup, and you've seen my magical green screen and the game and everything. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys, and I'll speak to you all in the next one. Take care.